I'm Ginger Annis, Alexander County Veteran Service Officer, and today I'm with Marissa Cooper Winstead. Marissa, tell us a little bit about yourself, your date of birth, where you were born, the community where you live.
Okay. My date of birth is November 16th, 1977. I was born in Gastonia, but my family moved up to the mountains shortly after I was born, and lived up towards Franklin, North Carolina, and Bryson City. And when I was about 12, 13, came back to Clover, South Carolina, and eventually moved over to Rock Hill, and that's where I graduated high school from.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
What did you do prior to joining the military?
Was in high school.
Okay, so you went right out of high school.
Yeah, 2 weeks after high school, I joined the military. So.
Okay. And how did you feel about it at that time?
I really didn't know what to expect because I didn't have family members and I really didn't have friends that had been in the military. There was a recruiter that came to our school, and at that time they were really promoting military, and this was the Army recruiter, Sergeant Parsons, and they did this big video on all the obstacle courses that you could do and all the career paths. And at that time I didn't know exactly what college I wanted to go to or really what I wanted to do after high school. But after watching the video and talking to that recruiter, that helped me with my decision. So I think the recruiter was the biggest turning point as far as me deciding to go to the military.
Okay, and so you went into the Army?
Yes, I went to the Army active duty.
Okay.
And,
which unit were you in?
let's see if I can remember the unit. When I was in Germany, we were in a medical unit, and I worked with a lot of civilians. It was the Vilsack Health Clinic. So the civilians would come to the health clinic, and most of the military would go to their individual unit health care. So that's where I was pretty much my whole military career. So.
Okay. What was the highest rank that you achieved?
Active duty, I was a specialist, and then I was almost 3 years active duty, just under 3 years, and I had gotten pregnant with Paige and decided to go to the reserves so I didn't have to put her in daycare and stuff like that.
Right.
So when I went to the reserves, we were right beside Grafenwehr, which is where you can go to your get your sergeant in Germany. And so my reserve unit said, hey, we'll send you to get your sergeant. So in the reserves, I actually got my sergeant. So
oh, okay, good.
It was pretty neat.
Very good. And how long did you serve total?
Total was 4 years.
Okay.
Active duty just under 3, and finished the rest in Germany in the reserves.
Okay. So. And did you serve any stateside other than basic training, or just to get started? Basic
and AIT, and basic was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and then my AIT was in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. So the whole time I was in Germany, I really enjoyed it because I had really never been out of North Carolina and right over into South Carolina. So it was an awesome experience.
Very good. What did you envision the military would be like after you joined? Did it meet your expectations?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
I mean, really a lot more, because I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations other than what I'd been shown on a video. And when you get in there, right away you start making money, and you have your own money and responsibilities. It really shaped my life. So, once I got in there, I think I enjoyed it even more than what I thought I would.
Oh, good.
Especially being in Europe.
Right.
So.
Do you remember anything about your basic training? Were you nervous, excited, or scared, or?
Yeah, it's beyond words. I was only barely 18. 2 weeks after high school, they sent us to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I'd just been told just scary stories. So
right.
When never been on a plane, they put us on a plane, sent us there, and was in the little reception area for a couple days. After a couple days, they had these big cattle trucks, come and pick us up and shoved, all these guys and girls in these trucks. And then that's when it really started, the yelling and the the whole course of basic, but it was scary in basic, but they kind of break you down, so you know that they're the boss, and then they build you back up. So it was an awesome experience. I would think that anybody could benefit from going to basic and doing a little bit of military.
Right. Do you remember any of your instructors, and if you do, what stands out about them?
Yeah, I remember a couple in particular. Now their names, I probably can't recall those, but there was this one lady. She was about 6 foot, and I'll never forget her. She just loved to pick on me because I was from North Carolina, and I had a pretty big accent back then, and I had messed up after basic was about done. They let us go shopping in the little post thing there, and I was tired of stinking and staying out in the field and everything, so I bought me a little thing of perfume, and it was about the last days I had sprayed a little perfume on, and she caught me, and boy, she really made me do push-ups and run, and I never wore perfume in the ranks again.
Did you make friends while you were in the military?
Oh yeah, I still am good friends with several people. A lot of them were from Europe. We were all in really close, and pretty much everybody in the unit that wasn't married stayed in these barracks basically together. So they're almost like brothers and sisters, and you really get close to people in the military.
So you still keep in touch with them even today?
Yeah, Facebook and social media, and sometimes we'll call. But yeah, some of my best friends were people I met in the military.
Very good. What did you think of your officers?
I respected them. They were very helpful to me. Once I went to Germany, it's almost like they're your parents, because they pretty much tell you where to go and what to do. And when I went over to Germany, I had a medical issue that came up, and they were there for me and really supported me throughout that whole process. So I really respected them.
Very good. What was your job in the military?
It was called 71 Golf, but basically just imagine like a health clinic, just like down at Family Care. I was the front desk person that took everybody in and got their records and just kept all the records organized. But it's called patient administrator. So it was a pretty good job for me. It was pretty easy.
What was your most memorable experience?
Gosh, I had so many memories from the military, but probably from the time I got out of my AIT and I got this sheet of paper telling me where I was going, I thought for sure I was going to Fort Jackson or somewhere close to home. I missed home. I looked on there and it said Winstead, Germany, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like in tears. I can't go overseas, I've only been on an airplane once. But once I was separated and went to Germany, it really changed my life. It made me really who I am today. So many lessons were learned being away from my family, and I had to make decisions and do things on my own. It made me a much stronger, better person. And the fun thing about being in another country, especially in Europe, you're so close to all these countries, like France. We went to France twice. All of us in the barracks, we'd rent a van and go up the Autobahn, and we went to Czechoslovakia, we went to Italy. So we got to do so many things by the time we were like 21. So it was an awesome experience.
Very good. Were you assigned to any weapons?
Well, my job, being at the health clinic, most people, did get weapons and that sort of thing, but I was really non-deployable because we were working with mostly civilians. So people, would always say, "You got the best job. You can't even be deployed," which I didn't know it was such a good job, but it really was looking back. We didn't even go to the field unless we chose to, which I did a couple of times to try to get some of the little ribbons and stuff. But I have a funny story. When I did go to this camp, or whatever you call it, they had land nav. Well, I was very directionally challenged at that time. So they had this land nav, and so I would always try to get some of the guys to help me. They just seemed to be a lot better at the mapping and stuff. But they had nightland nav, of all things, nightland nav. So I had to be out in the woods with a map and a compass and try to find my way around, and it was very, very difficult.
I would probably still be out there.
If it wasn't for a nice lieutenant who came upon me, I probably would have been, because it was difficult.
What was everyday life like? Was it just like normal?
It was getting up early, and we had to do what's called PT, physical training, just like most military units. We'd get up and run and do exercises, and then we'd have so long to get dressed and get to work. It was almost just like a regular job. If your different units have different procedures, but like with us, we had to be at the front desk at 8 o'clock because we had people coming in and checking in, and they'd bring their kids and that sort of thing. So my job especially was just like a job every day, except you had your BDUs on and you were in the military, and you had expectations with working out and being there on time and that sort of thing.
Now, is that what got you interested in running? Because I know you're a big runner.
Yes. I really had never ran before the military, and I definitely can say the military taught me to run. I'd always kind of worked out and rollerbladed and did things like that, but once I went to basic, that's where they really taught me how to run properly. And so that really got my love for running, because they taught me how to do it right. At first we were all dying and going up that hill, but that was what made my passion for running.
Well, very good. So your living conditions, you were in a barracks with how many other people?
It was almost like best way to describe it was like a big hotel almost. Everybody had our individual unit had rooms. So I had my own room, and it had its own bathroom. It was just like one room with a little area you could wash your hands and stuff, and then you had your bathroom, but we all shared a big kitchen. So we would all get together and cook, or a lot of times we'd just cook stuff in the microwave or go out, but we had a kitchen where we all shared that kitchen, but everybody had their own basically rooms. And the girls were on one side, and I think the guys were upstairs. It was a couple stories, but it was our living conditions with the Vilsack Health Clinic, I think, was a lot better than most, because normally you might have a few people in there with you, but most of us had our own room.
Right. How did you keep in touch with people back home?
Being in Germany, it was tough because it's costly, but just basically by phone. Facebook and stuff wasn't around at that time. We did have the internet, so I emailed and stuff, but like I said, you get so close to these people that you're with, they're almost like your family, because you don't get to see your family much. Most parents and stuff can't afford to come to Germany because it's pretty expensive. My parents didn't get to come over, but I did stay in touch by talking to them and over the phone and stuff. But
well, and there's a time difference too, so that's probably a challenge.
Like 7 hours or something. So with them working and me working, it was a challenge. But we sent, they'd send me a lot of boxes and write and stuff, and you always enjoy getting that.
What did you do for fun or during your leave?
With my leave, most of the time I would come back, if I could, afford it, to the States and just spend time with my family. And sometimes if we got like a long weekend, we would go to, Paris, or a lot of my friends were into skiing, so the Swiss Alps and everything is right there. They would go snowboarding or skiing. I went to Garmisch. It was so much you could do if you took advantage of it, and most people did over there. So we got to see a lot of different countries and places, and Germany's such a pretty place.
Did you receive any awards or decorations for your time in the military?
I had a couple little ribbons. I didn't have, a bunch, but I had gotten, from basic, believe it or not, I got, not marksmanship, but the one right up for that for shooting a weapon, which is funny because, I'd never shot a weapon before. And when I got in there with the M16 rifle, they at first put us in there with blanks. So, you know, you've got like 10 people and they scare you to death. They say, oh, every time we do this, somebody gets shot, you know, so they're really trying to scare you, so you're very cautious. So I just knew in my mind, you know, oh my gosh, it's going to be me. So when we got up there and everybody was shooting, you know, it's not even real bullets, it's just getting you practiced with the weapon in your hand. But this girl's little blank, it just kept popping over at me. So I actually started crying, and the first sergeant had to come over and he said, come here. My last name at that time was Self. He said, Private Self, what are you crying for? And I said, I just know I'm going to be that person that gets shot. He's like, okay, we just say that. So, you know, they really try to do a lot of stuff to scare you, but it worked.
Do you still have any of your uniform photos, memorabilia, anything like that?
I have a lot of photos. Because I've moved several times since then, I don't think I have a lot of my uniform. I really wish I did have my uniform, because my daughter now wants to go to the military. It'd just be neat to have it.
Right.
But I have a lot of pictures from basic and everything. It's really neat.
Very good. What was it like after you got released from the military and you came back home?
I had actually met Paige's dad in Germany, and we got married actually in Denmark. And so by that time, when I first got to Germany, they do this little briefing, and they said, everybody that leaves Germany leaves with a few things: a cuckoo clock, a grandfather clock, a husband, and something else. And I'm like, a kid. Okay, so those 3 things, I'm like, I don't want any of those. So 4 years later, you know, I'm leaving with a husband, a kid, and several clocks from the Black Forest. But so when I came back to the States after 4 years, you know, I was out of the military, but my husband at that time, he was still in the military. So we went to Wichita Falls, Texas. He was taking a year-long course. And so when we went to Texas, he got his orders to go to Fort Bragg. And so we went to Fort Bragg after that for a couple years, and he went to Afghanistan was deployed there shortly after 9/11. And you know, after that, that's when I decided to come to Taylorsville, because my sister lived here at that time. So.
Okay. So you did marry and start a family while you were in the service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Young.
What's your occupation been since you left the military?
Since I left the military, the one good thing about the military was, you know, you get so much money for school, and I had the GI Bill, which was about $30,000. So when you're in the military, they pay for the majority of it, and you have to use your GI Bill. So I thought I wanted to be a teacher. So I was just taking the basic classes, and actually got a associate's degree from University of Maryland, the European division, because they had those classes in Germany. And then I started taking courses, you know, each post I was at, and I started doing a lot of substitute teaching, especially in Wichita Falls, Texas. That made me realize I don't want to be a teacher. I can't do this. So anyway, I thought I'd go get my real estate license. Just nobody in my family was really in real estate, and I can't remember what made me want to do that. But I thought, well, I could do that part-time and finish my schooling, and you know, decide what I want to do once I get my bachelor's and stuff. And so I got my real estate license and started real estate and started doing really good. And you know, it was a good job, a fun job. I got to meet a lot of people and make good money. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just do real estate. So that's what I've been doing really since the military was real estate.
Are you active in any of the veterans organizations in the county?
I should be. I mean, I love to be around vets and hear their stories. You know, we've gone to some breakfasts over at the vet thing off of Kerrigan Road.
DAV.
Yeah. But I should be more active. I love being around them.
Well, we'd love to have you. What would you say to the youth today that are interested in the military?
Go for it, 110%. Like I said, it changed my life in so many ways. And my family didn't have the money to send me to college, so that was kind of out.
Right.
I worked through high school, so I didn't have the best of grades. I worked a lot of hours. So to me, I really didn't know what I was going to do. And once I met the recruiter and saw what was available in the military, I decided to go. And I would say if you're thinking about it, it's a great opportunity. It could really, really get your life started, even if it's just 2 years or 4 years. You know, it really, really trains you for the real life.
Right,
you
right.
know.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say or share with us? Now, you said your daughter Paige is interested in the military.
Yeah, she would like to go to West Point, which is smart. You know, I went in as no rank, nothing, and built up from there. I was enlisted, but she would like to be an officer, and she certainly could because she's got excellent grades, and so she would like to go to one of the military academies, especially West Point, which is Army or Navy, either one. So I'm excited for her, and I really, you know, I can give her some good advice on, you know, things that she needs to do and take care of. So and she's starting our OTC this fall with Mr. Pratt and what's the other one?
Matt Polson.
Polson. How could I forget that name? But actually, Mr. Pratt called me personally once he found out that Paige wanted to go to West Point, and said that he would like to have her in ROTC, and got me a lot of information because I didn't do ROTC, so you know, I didn't know a whole lot about it. But once he talked with me and Paige, he was very convincing. So,
now, is she a junior or?
She'll be in 11th grade next year.
Okay.
So
okay.
He said it was really important to do it that first semester because they can write nominations and that sort of thing for the service academies. So yeah, he convinced us.
Well, good. Now, do you have any other children?
No, I just have Paige.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that. You know.
Okay.
And she claims to be German, which she was born in a real German hospital in Vilseck. We weren't close enough to like Würzburg and some of the bigger hospitals, so she gets a kick out of being a true German.
There you go. Was there anything else you'd like to say?
One last thing was in the military. I had I told you I had a medical issue, and when I was flown to Germany, there I worked with a bunch of doctors, and they had found out that I had a tumor. It led from my optic nerve up to my brain, and probably the best thing one of the best things that the Army did for me was they had to fly me to Walter Reed Medical from Germany for several months, and they removed that tumor, and all of that was taken care of by the military, where my family never had insurance on us.
Right.
So that was a great opportunity because, you know, I never knew I had you know, a tumor or anything.
Right. Right.
So that's an opportunity for, you know, kids out there that may say, how am I going to get medical and dental, and all that's covered by the military.
Right. They take care of you.
They really do. It's a great
Okay.
opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing. I'm so glad you're our first female that we've interviewed. So I'm excited about that. But thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Well, thank you for yours.